guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video called Culture Shock from Living in Sweden, Stockholm. So obviously it's going to be something just in Stockholm, very particular to Swedish people, but just specifically in the capital. I would assume that, you know, things, well it's a good like rule of thumb to actually check out the capital of most like countries, because that's where probably it's the most like population density is. So I think it's a good, like, if you want to gauge how people are, well, yeah, sure, it's good. Although, however, it's telling, because, you know, the title's like just in Sweden and just in Stockholm, it's like, well, maybe things in the countryside are a bit different. I think I don't really know much about Sweden, so I can't really speak of like what sort of like cultural shocks people might experience. But I think it's always going to depend on the place where you're coming from, because I think if you're coming from also like Nordic countries and Scandinavia, I doubt that's gonna be like that much of a difference. But I think if you're coming from, I don't know, the Philippines, maybe, I would assume, yes, it's gonna be quite different. Not just the weather, but also, you know, people are gonna act quite different, I would assume. But let's check it out and comment, like, and subscribe.
You're comfortable, but what is life without a little bit excitement?
Everybody was looking at me like something was wrong.
If you want to be generous and say, okay, I pay that one, you are broken, for 2 months you cannot go out anymore.
You like might get some sun outgone.
Hello everyone and welcome to the newest video. Today's video is about a country that I love focusing on so much on this channel, and it's Sweden. Now, last time I was in Sweden, I didn't get a chance to talk to any foreigners about their experiences, which is why we decided to make a new video featuring Sweden in the winter. I've got my host Ana Luisa. She's a Brazilian who moved to Sweden to be with her Swedish boyfriend, so she's a foreigner interviewing foreigners, which I think makes it even better. Hope you guys enjoy this. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below, and let's get on with the video.
Tell me your name, where you're from, and how long you've been to Sweden.
Hi, my name is Navna. I'm from South Africa.
My name is Megan. I'm from Minnesota in the United States.
My name is Juliana. I'm from Brazil.
My name is Rafael and I come from Italy.
So I'm Maya. I'm from Poland.
I'm Elina, and I come from Greece.
I'm Alex. I also come from Greece.
I'm Nikki, and I'm originally from Canada.
I've been in Sweden.
It's good because they have like a good representation. They had African, they had American, they had other Europeans. The only one that I think I'm missing is Asia and probably something like Oceania, like Australia or New Zealand. But I think it's going to be a good an accurate representation of like foreigners, because there's a lot of cultures.
For about 5 years.
I've been here just over a year.
For about 4.5 years.
Almost 5 years.
A lot of
recently living here, two years.
I have been here for 6 years.
They've been there for a long
Quite
time.
similar for me.
I lived in Sweden for 8 years.
What was your biggest culture shock right when you arrived Sweden? The approach of people to basically everything.
I guess how quiet people were. No one says how are you in the stores or anything. So that was kind of a big culture shock for me, because
That's like they're not that polite, because I think when you're entering a place, either whether that's a store or whatever, I think the polite thing would be to say like, hey, you know, good afternoon or whatever. Like you say, or hi. You know, you actually have to like say hello and greet people, and just like say hello or whatever sort of like greeting you use. But I think that makes it like, it's polite to do that, but apparently in Sweden it isn't, and I think that maybe that can come across as rude, because no one's like, I don't know, no one's greeting you, and maybe, but if you greet them, like, will they greet back, or they will just like be like, what are you on, and they'll just move on with their day. I don't know. That would actually be extremely rude, actually.
as people in Canada, it's like, how are you? It's like, I know, it's like, do they care about how I am? It's like, no.
Compared to Brazilians, Swedes are really like set back, which is respectful, but it's also hard to get to know them in a deep way.
When I came in the first time, I was in the metro station and everybody was so silent. Nobody was speaking, and I was like, okay, what is going on? Is there something wrong? And then when I was speaking, and I was speaking loud and a lot, you know, I'm Greek, it was like everybody was looking at me like something was wrong. After 6 years, I can say I have calmed down quite a lot from feeding.
That's also the thing. I think when you've been living somewhere for quite a bit, like she's been, I think, 6 years there, 5 or 6 years, of course you're gonna have to adapt, because otherwise people are gonna keep looking at you very strangely, and you're just like, no, well, I'm there now, so of course I have to like adjust a little bit. But I think it's kind of like, I think it would be very weird if you're in a subway and people are like, no one's speaking. Like, that would be quite strange. And what happens like when you know someone and you're like right in the subway with them? Can you talk? Is it allowed? Maybe it's not like a norm, but it's like a social norm, a social custom. It's not an actual law, but it's just like people are not gonna be talking. Or maybe if you have to like talk to someone, you're gonna be like, hey, like, whispering. Maybe that's the thing.
The way that people have trust for others, they leave their babies outside on the pavement. The other day I was
Hopefully not.
walking through town
Hopefully not in the snow.
and I just saw a baby pram and I thought, oh my gosh, that was like a complete foreign concept to me.
Of course, also leaving aside the fact that it's a baby in in a little like baby carriage, like you're not gonna leave them like in the middle of the street abandoned, because it's like, I mean, even if when people do it to dogs, I'm a little bit like, why are you like tying your dog to a post? Like, some places are not like pet friendly or whatever. It's a little bit like, so can someone can steal your dog? I don't know, like something can happen to it. Like, I don't trust it, so I wouldn't even and the fact that they even do that with if I think that way about dogs, like leaving babies untended, that's like the almost very strange thing that I can think of.
For me, I would say it's like how different people are when they drink versus at night versus when you meet them during the day. Like, there was a colleague of mine, I thought she was a bit cold to me. I thought, why? But then during the night, she was drunk and then she was like hugging, like, Alex, it's so nice to have you here. And that was quite a shock for me, because in Greece or in Spain, where I have lived, or in Brazil, we are kind of similar during the daytime and night.
Yeah, they switch personalities when they start drinking.
I confirm that.
Yeah, and the next day they pretend nothing happened.
Exactly. And I think so.
Okay, that's a personality thing. I get that not everyone's gonna be like that. But it just depends how you're like, how you take your liquor. If you're like, no, I cannot handle my liquor, and then I do weird things. But I think that's, both, everyone's saying no, they really do switch personalities. I think that's like, I don't know, that's actually like a bad thing. I don't know if I can say like that's a bad or a good thing, but it's definitely strange, because it's like, well, what, I think that maybe it's because they're not allowed to drink. I know they have like very strict like alcohol rules, so that makes me wonder if that's the case, because like, when they're drinking and they're very closed, so it's like the minute they get a drop of alcohol, those people are like, whoa, super wild, and they just like hug you and start to like telling you their life story. And it's like, well, maybe you guys would drink, like if drinking would be like, if you were allowed to drink more, people would take it would be less of a big deal, and you would be like, yeah, whatever. Or maybe if you're allowed to like hug people in your normal life, you wouldn't need alcohol to actually like get closer to people. But that's a little strange, and they're just like, oh, they act like they pretend like nothing happened. Although again, that's a personality thing. Some people may do this in Canada or the United States or whatever, but it's funny that they're like, no, it's a thing there.
Betrayed sometimes. Okay, what happened? We had a good night.
Yeah, and also another thing that I noticed that different from Southern Europe countries, that no one is never hanging on a balcony or from the window. Like in Italy,
cold.
people really like to be curious and look around what's going on.
But it's because it's colder.
Sweden, I think one of the main culture shocks was probably customer service. On the one side, I actually like that Swedish customer service is more laid back. Like if you go to a grocery store, you're not about to have a full-length conversation with the cashier. Sometimes I do just want to get my stuff and go. But on the other side, when I've tried to make phone calls to get customer service help, suddenly I'm hoping for a little bit more customer service.
So I'm from Poland, and I think we are more like Balkan or Italian people. Like we're really close to our family. Like myself, I talk with my mom quite often, almost every day. We do a video call, and I think like in Sweden it's not that common. It's not like a must. You have to be friends with your family. It's okay to just stop contacting them, and no one will judge you for being black sheep of the family. I think that
again, that I think that it's very dependable. Some people have like, wait, I don't like my family, so I don't speak with them, I don't talk to them, I don't have any relationship with them because I think they're toxic or whatever. And it's like, well, okay, that's sort of like a specific case of like, you do you. But it's funny that she was like, it's not gonna be, I think the difference is not gonna be, is if assuming that not, that, you know, you don't have a toxic relationship with them, it's just like, whatever, I just don't like them that much. It's like, you know, our personalities just do not mix well with each other. people are not gonna be like, oh my god, I can't believe you're not talking to you haven't talked to like, you know, your cousin in 5 years. It's like people are just like whatever. Maybe I think it depends on like how close you are, like close, like the family like group, because I think it's one thing if you don't really have a lot of relationship with like cousins, and another if you don't speak with your parents or your siblings. I think that's another story of like, technically you should be closer to them because like you grew up in the same house. But I think maybe cousins, I think are a little bit, or uncles and aunts maybe are a little bit like one step away from each other. So maybe I could understand people not being like, oh my god, you haven't talked to them in like so long. But it's like, well, yes, but it's not like we didn't grow up together. But if it's like a sibling, it's like, that's weird that you haven't spoken with your sibling in a couple like months and you haven't like know what's up with their lives. I would think that's weird, right? I don't think I'm weird in thinking this.
That's maybe like connected with the really well like system, like welfare system. Like when you're old, you're not gonna be forgotten, and the government will take care of you.
What are the things that you like the most about Sweden and things that you like the least?
So the best thing coming from a country that's messy, the system. Here things work. It's bureaucratic, takes time, a lot of time, but in the same way when you have things in order, things just work smoothly.
Quality of life, people are very nice, polite, there's a very high rate of education in people.
I feel safe. The streets are clean. The metro is on time. If you're late, you're gonna get like a message, or they're gonna say it's gonna be 2 minutes late. As a woman, alone, I'm not gonna be bothered, because even if I want to be bothered, they're not gonna speak to me.
Even if you want people to bother you a bit more,
it's not gonna happen.
I never imagined a country caring so much for its people. That was
Wow.
the biggest what for me. I mean, 2 weeks in, I received a health check kit. You know, there's free education. There's the way that they do the public transport and the pavements for pedestrians. The free healthcare, like that's, I find that mind-blowing.
People here enjoy nature, they go for walks, they really value like going to their summer houses during summer.
That.
Just the feeling of the culture feels very lagom. You just feel like everything is very just like balanced. And coming from the US, everything is so extreme.
I'm wondering if it's balance as in like the work-life balance, as in like you go to work, but also like you get to enjoy, nature on the weekends. Is that what like the word, like the equivalent of balance means?
All directions. And so I feel like you come here and you can relax a bit. I mean, it's not perfect, the winters are cold and dark, and yet I still I feel much more like at peace here.
For me as a woman, the best thing about living in Sweden is equality. So I have really seen that in the workplace, in the society, and it has been a big difference from Greece actually. So I really, really enjoy that.
For me, I would say the best thing is how interesting Swedish people are. They are knowledgeable, they are interesting, it feels that they are...
Obviously, that's not what they're saying, but it's funny that when people are like this, I'm like, oh, so Greek people are not interested, like they're not smart. Obviously, that's not what he's saying. But it's like, oh, the same with the Italian one. That was like, people are very polite. So it's like they're impolite in Italy.
They are better, if I would say. I take that back. But
you'll be cancelled.
Yeah.
What's something that you don't like so much about Sweden?
Just to think about this.
Wait a minute.
Get your list.
First thing is that actually restaurants close too early and clubs start like too early and close too early. I don't like that.
People really keep to themselves to the point where they won't even say excuse me. They will just try to sneak by you. They will like shimmy along the wall.
Yeah, Swedes hates to bother.
It's like, but all you have to say is like, oh, excuse me.
It's fine.
That's a huge difference. In the States, we'll be like halfway down that, like away from them down the aisle, be like, oh, sorry, about to come through,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's sometimes I don't feel like culturally integrated, and I feel different from most people. And I think that's the hard part.
You're Canadian, but I get what she means.
It's also like when you were trying to learn the language, people do speak English. And that's also very hard, because if you're trying to learn Swedish, you have to...
You can't.
It's hard to learn the language because everybody wants to speak English.
I mean, to not mention the obvious, the warmth overall, the warmth of the weather, the warmth of people, spontaneity. When you have everything set up as people are used to have here, and everything is a certain way, and they live their whole life in this way, I understand that it's difficult to kind of do something different out of nowhere. Feel comfortable like this. But
okay, yeah, because I think if of course that's what they know, that's the only thing they know. So I can assume that most people, when you tell them like, yeah, well, there are other things that this could be done, or maybe, you know, they're very closed. I think maybe that's what she means. It's like they're very closed-minded, but not in the sense of like, oh, they're closed-minded people. No, it's just like when you're trying to introduce something new or a new sort of like maybe other system, they're gonna be like, wait, what? Like if it works and has been working since the dawn of time, and that's what I'm used to, why would I change? So maybe it's the thing about adaptability, like they're not that adaptable, which I think maybe some other countries do have it because like things are constantly changing. So it's just like, okay, I'll just adapt, whatever, I don't care. But you know, maybe in Sweden they're very like strict about this because they're very organized and a lot of like, it's a lot of like things working properly. So why would they change it? Like if it ain't broken, why would I fix it?
what is life without a little bit excitement? What is life without a little bit spontaneity?
You miss that.
I miss that. Just loosen up.
Sad part is that they are not so spontaneous. Then we need to plan ahead so much. Our life is mostly on the weekends, not during the week time. Whereas in Greece, I mean, you just go for a coffee after work so easily. And here it's just not so easy.
Every day I don't hear voices outside. When you go out to work or whatever you're doing, you don't hear people talking. They just like straight to work like this. And Friday night, from nowhere, I hear some laughs. It means it's after work, they're going out to drink and they're happy. I mean, in Brazil we also drink, have fun, but we don't have this necessity to like be just in the environment of having fun, to be in that energy of like laughing and make jokes and losing up. We have fun every day.
The price, especially like alcohol or getting a shot when you go out with your friends in the night, if you want to be like generous and say, okay, I pay that one, like, and you are 3 or 4 friends, like you are broken for 2 months, you cannot go out anymore.
I would say it's the weather for me, the darkness.
Hopefully that happens just the first time, and you're like, oh yeah, sure, I'll pay this round, and then you're like, oh wow, I can't pay my rent. How expensive is alcohol over there?
It's not the cold. I really like the cold, but the darkness is really, really tough.
Funny, I think she's the first one that's mentioned, like, no, I actually like being cold. Otherwise, all the others were like, oh my god, it's so cold, I hate it. She's the only one that actually embraced this, and I actually like it. Although the darkness, I think, yes, that's a different story, because obviously it's not the same coldness and darkness. They're definitely not the same.
The first year, it was basically impossible to manage this like very long darkness.
I do come from Minnesota, and Minnesota is just as cold, if not colder, than Sweden.
Yeah.
But the darkness, and I know that is a stereotype of Sweden, but it really did surprise me the first winter I stayed here. I thought I was so ready. No, the darkness is worse, because it's not like you get 4 or 5 hours of bright sunlight. You like might get some sun. Oh, it's gone. Like that's how it is.
Yeah, I think it's very different, because like she said, and I think probably Canada, some places in Canada are the same, but she's from Minnesota. She's used to like very dark, harsh winters, not dark, harsh winters. But I think that could be a case where you're like, oh, I'm used to this. Like, I'm used to the cold. It's fine. I'll be okay. But no, the winters there are very different. I think it's just because where they're located, like not on the map, in the actual Earth. It's, you know, they don't really get a lot of sunlight. And I think one thing is like you're used to like being very cold and like it's snowy, it's awful, like you're not gonna get warm. Even in other places, you're still getting some sun. But I think from like when people speak about Sweden, they really do say like, no, seriously, there's no sun. There are some days and some months where you're only gonna be able to maybe get like 2 or 3 hours of sunlight at much. Like that's really hard to adapt, and not just mentally, but I think your body as well, because humans need sunlight. It's like, you know, we're not like plants, but you know, similar. It's the human body. It's not just like mentally thing. It's a mentally thing. It's like, no, actually my body needs sunlight to actually survive and, you know, make it through like life. So of course it's like actually a biological need, and not just like it's a mindset.
Here.
What's something that at first was a shock, but now you said, I feel more Swedish, I like this?
I guess herring, pickled herring. That was really odd.
Okay. I arrived on cinnamon bun day. So my sister-in-law was like, come, let's go get cinnamon buns. And at first I was like, okay, but you know, this is interesting. And then there was the semla bun day, and then there was the crayfish day, and then it was this and that and that. And now I'm seeing how the Swedes are taking these tiny little things and making something so cozy out of it.
Organized.
Love that.
They are so organized, and it's trustful because they are on time for everything, and this organization give you security, safety. So you know if they say like, oh, we're gonna meet there at this time, or something's gonna happen in some way, usually happens, which bring you some kind of sense of stability.
Yeah, and Brazilians are the opposite of that. Brazilians are more flaky, like they say, oh, let's go, yeah, next week, let's meet and see, and nothing happens.
Never gonna see them.
I would hate that.
Never gonna happen.
Yeah, and Swedes are like, oh, let's meet next week and have a dinner or something, and they actually mean it.
And they make an appointment, and you gotta be there 50 minutes early. Okay, not on the time they say 9, be 8:45.
Okay, I don't like that.
Never meet just to meet. There always needs to be something planned, like an activity, like a theme for the party. Like there needs to be something. In the beginning, I thought that was super weird. Like just meet, please. But now I think I enjoy it. Like, I mean, we know.
I think maybe it gives it like a purpose of like, we're having a custom party, we're having a white party, we're having a bring your own spaghetti party. I don't know, just making things up as I go. But it means like a purpose of, it's like it has to have a purpose. Although I get what he means of like just meet, let's just hang out just for the purpose of like hanging out. We don't have to like do anything. We don't need an excuse. We can just hang out and that's it.
What to do, and yeah, planned fun is also fun.
I'm not used to plan like free time things, but actually it's good to do that.
Because now I tell him like, oh, in 2 weeks we're doing this, and he never writes anything down. And then when the day comes, I say like, oh, we meet there and there at that time. And he's like, what were you doing? And I was like, yeah, I told you a few weeks ago, you remember? No, that never happens. But he's learning.
How has living in Sweden changed you as a person?
People are on time. I'm not on time. Yes. I'm Brazilian. Yeah. I'm 1 hour late. And I had to adapt to that.
Yeah, I would guess Swedish people are gonna hate you. Like, I can give you a pass just like one time because I have to tell you, hey, we do things different here. But after like the second or third time, I would assume people will just stop. Like, no, seriously, like you need to stop now. If I tell you 5, it's 5.
Which I think it's great for me because it's me adapting for better.
The way of driving.
I like that because she said, yes, I know I'm very unpunctual and I have to learn how to like not waste any people's time. And it's something that I've learned and it makes me a better person, which is good. It's a great way to look at it.
Sweden is very respectful and slow driving.
Oh my God, yes, he's from Italy.
So I take that one back to me even when I go to another country.
I think in Italy, I think the stereotype is that they drive pretty crazily. So it must be quite a huge culture shock to be like, no, seriously, people respect the rules and are driving pretty organizedly there. And again, they're not a hazard. It's like, I think that could be, wow, coming from Italy, that's gotta be crazy.
I think I've gotten more quiet actually. Like I used to be very loud and very like outspoken and stuff. Now I'm more quiet because I feel like I can't. It's like I can't be too loud because I'm scared of people like staring.
Especially being from the United States, we really are in our own bubble there. The country is huge, and you know we do have so many influential cultural things that export out of the US to the world, but not so many international things come into the US. And being in Sweden, it's always just such a refreshing view on just how to live my life, and kind of like I feel like I'm always humbled every day because as much as I've like learned a lot of Swedish and I feel very confident, I'm not fluent, and so there's still times where I don't fully understand something, but that's kind of what makes it exciting.
You can't sit around and wait for things to happen. You have to go out and make the opportunities for yourself, make the friends. In the beginning, I was reluctant, but it's given me a lot more confidence, I guess, in myself. I feel a lot more capable as a person because I've had to do so many difficult things.
Do you feel more lonely here? Do you feel happier here than in Brazil? How do you feel about your home country?
Everything that should work works, but culture, I'm not from here, so I have really hard time to adapt. It's hard to like come to a country where everyone does the same or think the same to make them open up a little bit.
Do you miss your home country?
It's like a never-ending debate, internal debate. Should we go back? Is it better in Greece? Should we stay here? I think there is no clear winner.
Yeah.
If we go back, we will miss Sweden.
Yeah. When I go to Greece, I find it now very loud and messy and unorganized. So actually I miss Sweden when I'm there.
What advice would you give to someone that's moving to Sweden?
I think they already adapted, and it's like I can't go back. It's like it's a mess. Maybe they're more adapted than they think actually.
Personally, I would advise you to find like a circle of friends. So you can start from that, because I know people who live here many years, like myself. I have very few Swedish friends. It's really hard to connect with them. So you should find someone to connect to, because it's quite easily gonna happen that you're gonna isolate yourself. You know, maybe if you come for work, you're gonna go to work, come back home, and you don't have a social environment.
I would say come to Sweden if you're prepared for a calmer life. Like perhaps don't come here if you want to have like, you know, the Barcelona life. But if you want to settle down with your family or like have a more quiet life, this is the place to be, I believe.
Don't move here directly after your studies, for example, when you have no work experience, because it will be super hard to find a job.
First, have things settled, bureaucratic wise, everything you have to do with the documents. Have that in mind on paper, because it takes time. Everything here takes time. If you apply for everything, it's going to take 1, 2, 3 months.
What you'll learn is that you do need a
That's actually a fewer amount than I was expecting, because it was just like, oh, I would expect those things to take like years, and up to a year, like probably around a year. So like 3 months, oh, that's nothing. I was in my brain, I was in my mind, I was like, oh, it's going to take you like probably a year and a half. Maybe not a year, but maybe like a good 9 months to actually get around, because I know that systems and immigration systems can be crazy. But it's like, well, that's actually a fewer amount, so that's not that bad, I think.
Personal number, and that is hard to get.
Don't expect life to be the same,
of course,
as it was back home, or even greener. You know how they say the grass is greener on the other side? It's only greener if you water it. It's such a cliche. It's only greener if you water it and if you make it. So you have to put in the work.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, this was a very interesting video. I think they made like great and very like good, they made good points. Like I think each of them had their own like little thing, but I think most of them can agree in the fact that Sweden is probably a very quiet country, and that makes it probably a little bit, they're more reserved, you know, they're quieter as in like people speaking, but also I think they're a little bit more reserved than a lot of countries, especially I think, again, because they're not from, you know, they were from the Mediterranean and other continents. I would have loved to see the perspective of some other European, but maybe not someone French, but maybe like, I don't know, a German, probably I don't know, like probably something maybe a little bit closer to them, and see like if they experience like the same like cultural shock, because I think obviously the farther you are from them geographically, like the harder time you're gonna have at adapting, and that makes it obviously the same, because I think, you know, if a Swedish person moves to Brazil, they're gonna experience, of course, a huge cultural shock, but it's like the opposite. But you know, again, it's like they're very far away from them, so of course it's gonna be you know, it's gonna be hard. I think I like that they were all sort of, you know, they've been here for like a really long time. I think the one that was like the one that had been living there for like the least amount of time was this woman that I think had like 2 years. And I think she's probably the one that was like a little bit, she's finding it a little bit harder to adapt. But I think it's just because, you know, give it a few more years. I think that's usually the case as well when you're moving to a new country or to a new place. Don't expect things to happen overnight. You have to, you know, you have to give it time, because, you know, you have to learn, and you have to like get used to how things work over there, and it's a mindset. And it's not like you actually putting in the effort like the other girl mentioned. It's like that's obviously the case as well. Like if you're not feeling like you are that happy, like I'm not really happy with myself here, you actually also have to like, you have to put in your little like grain of sand there, because you're not like, she said, you can't just expect like things to happen. You have to actually make them happen. You have to like, you know, go out, you have to like make things. And even that makes it, if you're like a very reserved person, I don't think this could be like, probably this would be the country for you, probably, because if you're not willing to actually go out and break out of your little shell, you know, you're gonna have a hard time. And also, of course, the winters are very hard. They can make you like very isolated, and people are not probably going out of their way to actually make you feel welcomed, or they're not gonna, it's not that they're rude, it's just that it's not in their nature. So if it's gonna be up to you, like basically it's gonna be up to you to actually like, hey, say hello, like, hey, you want to go out for drinks? I don't know if that's actually the case. I don't know if that's allowed over there, like they're gonna look at you strangely. But I think it's gonna be the onus is on you to actually like prove yourself. It's not on them. I think there are some other countries where people are kind of like a little bit of the opposite. And if someone's coming in, like a new person is, coming from somewhere else, people, cultures are a little bit more welcoming in the sense of like they'll take you out for drinks, for instance. They're like, oh, you're new here, like let's go out. I think in Sweden it's the opposite probably. It's like it's not gonna come from them of like, hey, I'll buy you lunch. It's like, no, you actually have to be like, hey, what's a good place to like have lunch around here? Would you like to go out sometime? And not just like sometime as in like leave it up in the air. No, you have to actually say, let's go on Wednesday then at 3 p.m. It's like, yes, you have to put like a time and a place. And again, that's good because like they said, it's good that we could all probably be more organized in our lives. So it's a good thing about like Swedish culture. But again, you have to really be in the mindset of that's going to be the case. Because otherwise, if you're thinking things are going to be done in the way that you're used to or in a different way, you're going to have a really, really hard time in general. But I think in cultures like this, that everything's like very closed, reserved and quiet, you really, really are not going to adapt to it very well. And I think also, I would love to know how many like immigrants move there and actually end up leaving because they're like, no, I can't, like, I didn't really adapt. And it's not on them because obviously it's not good or bad. They're just like the way they are. But it's just like a me thing, a personality thing that I didn't really adapt. And I would love to know like the numbers of someone like has returned and say like, no, this wasn't like the country for me, because that can also happen. And again, it's not like, oh, you failed at this. It's like, no, of course. It's just like some people are just, it doesn't really go well with me, with my mind, with my personality, with like, I don't know, my vision for my future. I don't know, whatever. I don't like living here. And it's not on them, it's on me. It's really the case of like, it's not you, it's me. And again, it's like, I know that people say that when it's like, oh, it's definitely you. But it's like, no. I think when you were talking about like actual like places and moving to other countries, I think it's definitely that's the case. It's just some people, sometimes you just don't adapt very well because of a number of reasons, and it's okay. It's fine. Like it's not on you. It's not on them. It's just like it happens. But I really do think it was very, very, very interesting. I think it's like a lot of things are like really funny. Like the thing about the alcohol, I think they have to, and again, it all boils down to like being so reserved and so like organized. Is the fact that they only drink on like on Fridays or on the weekends, and that makes it like they go wild. It's like, I don't know if I love that, if I like that very much, because again, it's like if you don't restrict yourself, I think, and you live a more balanced like lifestyle, probably, it's not gonna go like a 180 of like your personality on a Thursday, and then when you drink, like you become a monster. It's like, again, if you allowed yourself to be like a little more balanced in a lot of different ways, then maybe that wouldn't happen. But I think, again, it's like that's their culture and you can't really do anything about this. But I would think it's kind of weird, especially like imagine your coworker, like it's a very like reserved person, and you know nothing about them, and then you see them out like for drinks at a party or like at a nightclub, and they're behaving like, oh my god, like party person, central, and it's crazy, and maybe they say a lot of things to you, and you're like, oh my god, what's wrong with them? And then like on Mondays, it's like, oh, good afternoon, or they don't even say like good morning. They don't even say anything. So it's like we're just gonna ignore what just happened, and it's like, yes, we're just gonna ignore that. But again, that can also happen with like nationalities and in other countries. So again, maybe that's just like it can happen not just in Sweden specifically. But I think that was funny, and I think maybe if they lead a more balanced lifestyle, which is weird because they're already apparently pretty big on balance. I'm wondering why alcohol is not a part of it, and not just alcohol, but also like that party culture of like, I don't know, we're just letting loose on the weekends. But maybe it's because they're very strict, and that's how it's done, and that's their mindset. And who are we to actually make them change this? But yes, I think it was very I think insightful into like how Swedish culture works. But that was it for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye!